Hey, you are about to watch one of three portraits that we shared during the event The Last Gasp at the Prestige, our Applied Somatics Academy. The premise of each of these is not just that they were an incredible moment in history through three inspiring figures, but that each one of them represents a somatic orientation that is truly profound, one where somebody moved from dysregulation or incoherence into a state that we like to call one mind, which is a moment of integration where body and mind are aligned, and you could call it maybe a state of super coherence. In the event that we shared these, we primed members in one of two roles, and they would come in and participate behind the scenes. Between each one of these portraits, there would be breakout groups where they would meet. One of them would be elected as principal, the other few would be witnesses. So when I have those different acts in each one of these portraits, that's what they're referring to. The principal is the one experiencing the somatic reorientation from dysregulation into one mind. The witnesses are carrying the field. They're reciprocating that experience and participating vicariously in that moment. The feedback from this particular event was incredible, and several of the principals noted that while they were telling their own story in between each one of these, that as they would hear the portrait of Musashi or Brene Brown or Jesse Livermore, that the somatic shifts taking place in each one of these portraits was adopted by them subconsciously as they were listening, and then it carried through into their own storytelling in the moments that followed, which is pretty awesome. And I hand-selected these three stories because there are three of my favorite of antiquity, going back several hundred years, in the case of Musashi, all the way to the last decade for Brene Brown. So, exciting stuff. I hope you enjoy it, and I'm going to hand it off to Lindsay, my partner in crime here, to walk you through the steampunk corridor. It's a thing we do. And then enjoy the portrait. Reach out at the Prestige if you have any questions.
Our third door opens closer to home. There's no battlefield, no market floor. The setting is familiar. The expectations are clear. The structure is already in place, designed to guide what happens next, and everything keeps moving smoothly. And yet, this moment carries its own kind of risk. What you're about to witness unfolds in full view of others. The stakes are not hidden. They live in reputation, credibility, and the quiet calculation of what's safe to do when many eyes are watching. This portrait captures a moment when the plan was ready, but the moment demanded something else. When proceeding as expected would have preserved control, and stepping away from it would expose everything. As you enter this one, notice how pressure shows up when there's nothing and nowhere to hide. When the structure that has always worked is suddenly the very thing that must be set aside. This door opens onto a decision that changed the direction of what followed, made not in isolation, but in front of a room that would remember it.
Part 1. The plot. Major conference center. Late morning. Several thousand people fill the auditorium. The event is filmed, recorded, and distributed beyond the room. Senior leaders, academics, and media are present. This keynote is not routine. Brene Brown's work has been gaining attention beyond academic circles. Invitations are increasing. Expectations are shifting. This talk sits at the boundary between two worlds: respected researcher and public intellectual. How she delivers here will determine which direction opens next. Backstage, she stands with printed notes in hand. The talk has been carefully constructed. The sequence is disciplined. The slides frame the research cleanly. Delivered as planned, it will confirm her credibility and keep her within familiar territory. The program is tightly timed. The keynote slot is fixed. Deviating from structure at this scale carries real risk. Loss of authority, confusion in the room, damage that won't stay local. Stage monitors show the opening slide. A producer signals the final seconds. The previous speaker exits to applause. Brown steps toward the stage holding the notes. This is the threshold. Remain inside the structure that has built her reputation, or step beyond it, publicly, with no guarantee of what follows. Part 2. The principle. Brown reaches center stage. The applause fades. The room settles. Thousands of faces look back at her, waiting for the opening line. She looks down at the notes. The sequence is solid. She knows exactly how this talk goes. If she starts reading now, the talk will work. She does not start. She stands still. Reading would require holding herself together while executing the plan. Managing posture, pacing, breath, attention, all at once. It would mean staying upright inside a structure that no longer carries her weight. She looks up. I had a whole talk prepared, she says. I'm not doing any of that. She sets the notes aside. There is no replacement, no reset, no explanation. For a moment, nothing happens. Then she begins speaking. She does not rush. She does not fill the space. The pauses are left untouched. The words arrive one at a time, without adjustment or recovery. The talk takes shape without sequence or slides. She stays where she is, physically and mentally, letting the next sentence arrive before moving on. The work is no longer being executed. It's being carried. Part 3. The witnesses. From the audience, the opening feels familiar. Brene Brown walks out with notes in hand and takes her place at center stage. It looks like the beginning of a clean, well-built keynote. Prepared, paced, supported by slides and a sequence everyone can follow. She glances down at the page. The room waits for the first line. Instead, she looks up and says, I had a whole talk prepared. I'm not going to do any of that. Attention moves through the audience. A few people exchange quick looks. Someone lets out a small, uncertain laugh. Heads turn toward the screens, waiting for the slide that explains what's happening next. Nothing comes. For a moment, the silence feels exposed, like a misstep that needs to be corrected. Then they notice what happened next. She sets the notes aside and steps away from them. She doesn't rush to fill the gap or signal for help. She stands still, feet planted, facing the room as if she has decided to carry the weight herself. When she begins again, the difference is immediate. Her voice doesn't test the space, it takes it. The sentences arrive fully committed, one after another, without hesitation or backtracking. She speaks as if the direction is already set and there's no need to look for confirmation. The room responds without deciding to. The shifting stops. Pens pause. Attention gathers and holds. The silences change character. No longer awkward gaps, but steady supports that deepen the room. As the talk continues, the original structure becomes irrelevant. No one waits for slides or wonders where she is in the outline. The room is being carried by something else now, by the steadiness of her body and the certainty of her delivery. Later, people from that audience will watch her trajectory change. The talk spreads, invitations multiply, new stages appear. But when they describe what they witnessed, they don't start with the ideas. They remember the moment she set down the notes, stood her ground, and spoke from a single, unified intention, and how the room moved with her the instant she did.